Hi boys and girls, this is Sally Morse. I'm a district math coach for Henrico County Public Schools, and for today's lesson, we will be reviewing line relationships. The I can statement for today are, I can identify practical situations that illustrate parallel, intersecting, and perpendicular lines, and I can use symbolic notation to describe parallel lines and perpendicular lines. What are real-world examples of parallel, perpendicular, and intersecting lines? Perhaps you've noticed when two streets meet, we call it an intersection. Intersecting lines have exactly one point in common. Some letters that are examples of intersecting lines are X's and T's. Perpendicular lines are a special kind of intersecting lines because they intersect at right angles. I noticed that the window panes at my house form right angles. Therefore, this is an example of perpendicular lines. We can show that lines are perpendicular by placing a small square in the angle. This indicates a right or a 90-degree angle. I like to use an index card to check for right angles. Notice that when I place my index card in between my two lines, where I form an angle here, it fits perfectly. This indicates a square corner or a right angle. Parallel lines lie in the same plane and they never intersect. Parallel lines are always the same distance apart and they do not share any points. Can you think of any examples of parallel lines? I notice parallel lines when my window blinds are opened up. Each blind is the same distance apart and they will not touch unless I close them fully. Another helpful clue for me for remembering parallel lines, it has two L's in the word, and parallel lines kind of look like two L's. Pause the video for a moment and make a note of some examples of intersecting, perpendicular, and parallel lines that you see around you. You hopefully noticed that these different types of line relationships can be found almost anywhere. When describing parallel and perpendicular lines, we use special symbols or symbolic notation. This symbol is used to show perpendicular lines, and we read it as is perpendicular to. In this example, we can say that line AB is perpendicular to line CD, and this is how we would write it. Again, line AB is perpendicular to line CD. Perpendicular lines are a special type of intersecting line that form right angles. They have exactly one point in common. This symbol is used to show parallel lines. We read it as is parallel to. In this example, we can say that line QR is parallel to line ST. We would record it like this, and we'd read it as line QR is parallel to line ST. Parallel lines have no points in common and they will never touch or intersect. Look at the diagram right here. Do you notice any line relationships? Pause the video and take a moment to record some of your own ideas. Today, we looked at line relationships. We identified and described intersecting, perpendicular, and parallel lines. We also used symbolic notation to describe parallel and perpendicular lines. Thanks for joining me today, boys and girls.